Hey, everybody. You know, everybody has their Power Five: ESPN, USA Today, Athletic, Fox, Yahoo, and all the pundits have their Power Five teams. Well, it's Top Five Wednesday, so now it's my turn. My turn to give you my top five in college football and the NFL. Plus, I'm going to talk about a couple of teams, actually two or three teams in the NFL that may be in danger of losing their head coach. We've already had one coach fired in the NFL this week. Could we be a week away from losing one or two more head coaches? We'll discuss that. Plus, a little bit more into college football and who I think is the leading candidate or candidates to replace James Franklin at Penn State. We'll touch all that here in the Ozone. Big O with the big mouth coming at you. And I'm sorry I wasn't here yesterday. I was a little bit under the weather, but a little bit of medicine, a little bit of water, a lot of sleep, and now I'm back at it. And I'm going to give you my take on what's going on in the world of sports as I like to do. But first, we're going to talk about the NFL. Three teams. We all know. Three of the sorriest teams in the league. The Cleveland Browns, Miami Dolphins, and the New York Jets. Combined total 2-16. Now, two of these three teams actually play each other this weekend. The Browns and the Dolphins. Both teams 1-5. Both teams, let's face it, the season's over for them. But as you probably know, there's been a lot of discord with the Dolphins. With Team Tua Tagovailoa, never pronounce his name. Tua Tagovailoa, I just say Tua, and head coach Mike McDaniel. Been a lot of little friction there. We've all seen it. We all know it. We've all heard it. And it might be a little subtle in some circles, but it's there. The friction is there. It is undeniable. Now, they're playing the Cleveland Browns this weekend. Also 1-5. Also in a little bit of a turmoil with the comments from Myles Garrett or it seemed like lack of interest in playing hard last couple of games. I mean, against the Steelers, he used to feast on. He didn't have a sack or a tackle for loss. But you got that tension. Plus the inept offense. The indecisions with QB, trading Joe Flacco. There's been a lot of mess going on with the Browns. And, you know, all the smack, all the shit falls on the head coach, right? So, these two teams meet Sunday, 1 o'clock, Cleveland, on the lakefront. I'm going to put it out like this. I mean, we can call this game the 2025 Toilet Bowl. Or the 2025 You Got to Go Bowl. That's a good name for it. The 2025 You Got to Go Bowl. And what I mean by that is this. The loser of this game may be losing their head coach. I would not be surprised one single solitary bit if the loser of this game loses their head coach the next day, if not that day. The loser of the You Got to Go Bowl between the Browns and the Miami Dolphins two of the worst teams in the league. The loser of that game will lose their head coach. I'm putting it out there. I'm saying it right now. I don't care what anybody thinks. I'm a Browns fan, so I know the pain for the Browns, for the other Browns fans. I know it, but this is what I'm saying because this is how it is. You can't put it no other way. The loser of this game will lose their head coach, and deservedly so. Deservedly so. They deserve to lose their head coach. Whoever loses this game, because they're not doing what they're supposed to do. Kevin Stefanski, what are you doing? Is he calling the plays, or is somebody else calling the plays? I know he took back play calling from the coordinator from last year. I know that, but it ain't been working. It's not been working at all. You can't even score. Forget 2 touchdowns in a game. You can't even score 1. You can't even score 1. It's a struggle for you to score 1 goddamn touchdown. And you call yourself an offensive guru, the quarterback whisperer? And you can design an offense to tell you your rookie quarterback who can barely see over the line? You ain't having them do rollouts. You're not having them do short screens. Get him used to NFL play. Easy. Have him roll out. Do rollouts. Do screens. Stuff that'll get him going. No, we ain't going to do that. We're going to try to throw it over the middle. And it ain't like his receivers or tight ends are helping him. And I'm blaming this all on the coach. Now, on the flip side, with the Dolphins, you got to put the blame somewhere. It's either the quarterback or the coach. You're not going to let the quarterback go. You owe too much money. So guess who's on the head is going to be on the chopper block? Mike McDaniels. I think he should have been gone last year. It's just gotten worse and worse and worse. And I know you don't have Tyreek Hill, but you were bad with Tyreek Hill last year. You were bad with Tyreek Hill when he played this year. And somebody's head got the ball on this. And it's going to be on the head coach. So, the loser of this game, Sunday, come 4 something Eastern time, whoever has lost this game, I'm putting it out there right now, and I'm saying it with all the conviction I can muster. You're going to lose your head coach. You're going to be an interim head coach to finish out the season for that team. Your head coach is going to be gone. Whoever loses this game. So this is, like I said, that you got the go bowl or you got to save your coach bowl. As simple as that. As far as the third team I'm talking about, the New York Jets. I think I talked about this on Monday. They're a mess. They're a mess, both on offense and defense. More on the offense than defense. And that's, like I said Monday, that's all about coaching. It is all about coaching. To not be able to get off a play when you're running a 2-minute offense with 20-something seconds left, and you don't get a playoff, you don't even snap the damn ball. That's coaching. That's not on the players. That's the coach. That is simply on coaching. Not being on the same page with your players and with the rest of the coaching staff. Simple as that. That's all it is. That's all it is. That's all it's gonna be. But that's the total. But that's where we at. We have 3. These are the 3 worst teams in the league, in my opinion. 2 of them. We've already got one coach gone. The Titans coach, Callahan. He's gone. He's been fired already because he hasn't done right. He hasn't done right by his number 1 draft pick, Cam Ward. He has not put that young man in a position to succeed. And I'm telling you right now, the loser of the Dolphins Browns game. Not that many people are going to watch this game. Why would you? Both teams are 1-5. But the loser of this game is going to lose their head coach. I guarantee you, as much as I'm sitting here in the ozone, one of those two teams will be looking for a new head coach Monday. And if the Jets don't get it together this weekend, I wouldn't be surprised if he be on the unemployment block. The Jets head coach. That's what we're coming to. That's what we're coming to this year. I know the Browns, this was a throwaway year, but to throw it away like this, and now you're coming to a little bit more of an easier part of your schedule, and you lose to the Dolphins, coach gone. Dolphins, on paper, you have more talent than the Cleveland Browns. On paper. But we know that on paper don't mean shit. You got to translate that on the field, and so far you have not yet done that. So if they lose this game, and if they look, especially if they look really damn bad doing it, Mike McDaniels is gone. I guarantee you. One of these two teams is going to lose their head coach. I wouldn't be surprised if it happens next Monday. We'll find out. We'll find out if I'm right or wrong. No, I've seen worse. Maybe the game will end in a tie and both teams get to keep their coach for another week. Who knows? Maybe. Stranger things have happened. But I guarantee you one of these two teams is going to lose their coach. The loser of this game. The You Got to Go Bowl. And that's my thought about that as I start in the ozone today. Now, let's get into some brighter things. We're going to jump back to college football, and I'm going to give you my top 5 teams as of week 7. In the week 7, the beginning of week 8. My top 5 teams. You may not agree with them. I'm sure one of these top 5 teams you probably won't agree should be there. Especially, we'll see. You'll see it. You'll see it. You probably won't agree with one of them. I guarantee that. My top 5 college football teams for week 7. Number 5, we got Alabama. Yes, I said Alabama. I know they lost to Florida State, but you got to remember, they got 3 quality wins on their schedule. Georgia, Vanderbilt, and Missouri. 3 wins against ranked teams. 2 of them against highly ranked teams. 2 of them on the road. Now, I know Ole Miss they have a right to be there. They did beat LSU, but then again, who else have they beaten? Not too many. They struggled to beat Kentucky. Yes, they beat LSU, but LSU has been offensively challenged since week 1. So all they had to do was put up enough points to get that. I got to put Alabama at number 5. Since they've lost to Florida State, they've been on a roll. They've been on a roll, and you know it. They've been on what they like to say, roll tide. They beat Georgia on the road. They beat Vanderbilt at home. They beat Missouri on the road. All those were close wins. All of them were close wins. But that goes into the bounce back, I call it, that Alabama has shown. The perseverance, the will, the ability to stick it out all the way to the end. Yes, they have a problem stopping the run. They're one of the worst teams in college football, definitely in the SEC, at run stopping, at stopping the run. But they have got, I think, very opportunistic business. Why? You may not turn the ball over against that team. You turn the ball over against Alabama, they will make you pay. That's how they've been getting these wins. Without being able to stop the run very good, very well, they get opportunistic with the turnovers. And they got way more than enough offense with Simpson at the helm to make you pay if you turn that ball over. That's why I have Alabama at 5-1. It's my number 5 team this week. Number 4, Texas A&M. Now, Texas A&M, yes, they got that one quality win against Notre Dame on the road. And you will say, well, who else they beating? Beating Florida, they ain't beat too many good people, good teams. See that goose egg? But do you see that goose egg beside their on their record? That's why. When you beat a couple ranked teams and still haven't lost yet, you got that goose egg on the L column. That's why they ranked as high as they are. Now, I know they got a gauntlet coming up. I know they got a gauntlet of teams they got to play. So this might change. I know they got LSU, they got Oklahoma. I know they got a bunch. Texas. They got heavy load to the toe for the rest of the season. I've looked at their schedule this morning. Yeah, it's a heavy load. I don't know if they'll stay at number 4 in my rankings, but for this week, that's where they at, number 4. You got number 3, the U. Yes, I have the Miami Hurricanes 3rd. I know they had a bye week, but, and I know they've had a bye week. Yes, I know they have three wins against ranked opponents on their schedule, but they were lower tier ranked opponents. USF, was it Florida State? I know they beat Notre Dame. So they got 3 wins against ranked opponents, but 2 of those wins were against, mid or lower ranked opponents. So I wasn't very impressed. South Florida, come on. I'm not very impressed. I wasn't very impressed. Yeah, they could beat a lot of the group of 6, but then you stepped up against the. Yes, I know they picked off Florida, but Florida's a joke. Florida's a waste this year. But they couldn't pick off Miami. Now, why do I have Miami 3rd? Because they had a bye week. That's the only reason why I have them 3rd. They had a bye week. They didn't play. So I couldn't gauge them on that. They got a good one Friday at home against Louisville. Louisville ain't no joke. They ain't no joke. The Miami should be able to take care of business. But I know they're probably going to get pushed. This week I got them 3rd. It's not because I'm hating on them. I think the Canes have a wonderful season. 5-0, 3 wins against ranked teams. You can't deny their success. You can't deny it. And I won't sit here and try to deny it. But I have them 3rd this week simply because they didn't play. And the team that did jump them did play. And they got probably their most defining win of their program's history. I'm talking about the number 2 team, the Indiana Hoosiers. To go out west into Eugene, Oregon, one of the more hostile environments in college football, and not only get a win, but get a win by double digits, where they controlled the line of scrimmage both ways. They were as physical with Oregon as any team I've ever seen them be physical with the Ducks. And they took it to them. And they capitalized on Oregon's mistakes. Oregon didn't make a lot of mistakes, but they made enough. And Indiana capitalized on them. And that's why they picked off. That not only is what I said, they needed to win this game to validate their program. Not only did it do that, it is the most defining win this team has had, this school has had, I think, since the 60s. I mean, nobody, when you talk about Indiana, you're talking basketball. Let's face it, Indiana's a basketball school. Bobby Knight, Steve Alford, Isaiah Thomas, and Bill Buckner, and undefeated teams. You're talking Indiana, you're talking basketball. You ain't thinking Indiana's a football hotbed. They are now. If you get a win like that on the road, beating the number 3 team in the country, on the road, They did something Ohio State couldn't do last year. Yes, sir. They went out there and beat them straight up by double digits. So they have two wins against ranked teams by a total of 63 points. Wins against ranked teams. They beat Illinois by 53. They beat Oregon by 10. What's that saying for this team, for this program? And I looked at their schedule. I didn't see another ranked opponent remaining on their schedule. So they should be favored in almost every game they play from here on out in the regular season. But go out there and beat Oregon, it defines your program, especially with Indiana. And that's why because Miami didn't play, I had Indiana jump Miami as the number 2 team in the country. We all know who's the number 1 team. You might not agree with it. You might think I'm a homer. You might think I'm just being biased. I told you, I like my teams like you like your teams. But I call it like I see it. And it's the age-old adage. To beat a man, you got to beat the man. And so far, nobody has been able to beat the number 1 team in the country, Ohio State. And that's why they're number 1. Nobody has come close to beating them. Yeah, Texas might have given a little bit of a scare, but still won. Defense. Best defense in the country. Their points per game average went up a tick from 500 to 6.8, but still the best in the country. Still under 7 points a game. Best defense there is. Period. The only defense I think comes close to theirs, maybe Oklahoma. But then again, Oklahoma got bitch slapped last week by Texas. So even I don't think they're that close. Maybe Indiana. Maybe Alabama. I don't know. But right now, nobody's defense is better than Ohio State. And for that reason, and the fact that ain't nobody beat them yet, Ohio State's number 1 team in the country. Yeah, I know who have they beaten? They got 2 wins against ranked opponents, even though one of them ain't ranked anymore. And yes, the rest of their schedule, because Penn State took the nosedive off the college football cliff and hit head first with no water in. They don't have they will not, and so did Michigan. They will not play another ranked opponent for the remainder of the season unless Michigan rights their wrongs. So it looks like Indiana and Ohio State are on a collision course. Because looking at both of their schedules, they're going to be favored in every game. Maybe by big time margins. And they're on the collision. To me, they're on the collision. Unfortunately, they don't play each other this year in the regular season. But if they keep going, but those 2 teams, Indiana and Ohio State, they keep going the way they're going, they're going to see each other in the Big Ten championship game. Because I don't see anybody else on either one of these teams' schedules being close to beating them. I just don't. And that's why I got Ohio State 1, Indiana 2. It's not no Big Ten bias. It's from what I see. It's from what I've seen. Ohio State has had no trouble with any game they played this season. Not one. They haven't had no trouble. They haven't sweated out a victory. Maybe you might want to call they sweated out a little bit of a victory against the number 1 team in the country coming into the season in Texas. Since then, have they really had a problem? If you looked at any of Ohio State's games, have they really had a problem beating the other team? Nope. Not a bit. You can't say that from any of those other teams. You can't say that. You cannot say that for any of those other teams. You can't say that for Ohio State. They had no problems with any team. I've told, and this is how I seen it. And I'll tell anybody who listens, Ohio State is that one team where if they got you down by double digits at the half, anytime during the halfway break point of the game, game's over. Game's over. You ain't winning. Forget it. If they have you down 2 or more scores at the break, at the halftime break, game's over. You're not winning. Forget it. Might as well, the second half of the game might as well be mostly garbage time. Because that's what it's going to be. You're not coming back. That team is built to where it's been like that for the last few years with Ohio State. They don't blow big leads. They don't know how to. I've only seen them blow one big lead. That was a few years ago when they lost to Georgia in the college football semifinal. Other than that, they ain't built that way. They ain't built to play. They're not built to play close games. They're built to get 2 or more score lead on you and then coast home. That's how they're built. And it's been working. And still, to be the best, you got to beat the best. And until somebody shows me that they can beat this team, they're number one. And it is not even close. So, that's my top 5 college football. You might agree with it, you might not. But that's my top 5 in college football. What do you think? You like it? Drop in a comment. You don't like it? You tell me who you think should be replaced in the top 5. Drop me a line. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This is the Total Sports Ozone with the big O with the big mouth. Now, moving on into college football, we all know James Franklin's gone with that $49, almost $50 million buyout. Probably lounging on the beach somewhere. I know I would. You give me almost $50 million, not the coach? Where do I sign? You ain't got to worry about that pressure no more. You ain't got to worry about the pressures of playing Ohio State or Michigan. You ain't got to worry about none of that no more. Now, here's my 2, maybe 3 candidates who I think are the leading candidates to replace James Franklin as head coach. One is Kirk Cignetti. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Excuse me. Kirk Cignetti from Indiana. I'm telling you right now, Indiana fans, y'all gonna have to pay the piper. No matter how this season turns out. No matter if you go all the way or you come up short. You have to admit, Kirk Cignetti, and in the 1.5 years he's been the head coach, he's turned that team. Come on. Like I said earlier, nobody before then now thought of Indiana as a football hotbed. Matter of fact, they were a football also ran. Bottom feeder in the Big Ten. Had been for decades. When you thought Indiana, you thought basketball. When's basketball season start? Now, top 3 in the nation. And with a bullet. And that's all due to Kirk Cignetti. So if I'm Indiana, the administration, athletic department, what have you, you better pull out your pocketbook. You better open up that checkbook and open it up wide and strong. Because this is Penn State. They are a football hotbed, football blue blood. And I'm telling you, if they willing to buy out James Franklin for $50 million, you best believe they willing and probably able to pay through the nose to steal Kirk Cignetti from Indiana. So if I were you, Indiana, I'd be talking about an extension like right now. I wouldn't wait. I'd lock him in right now. Because I promise you, they're going to come after him, and they're going to come after him with the noise. What you going to do? What you going to do if you don't get if money talks, BS walks. We all know that. Money talks and BS walks. I mean, I know you might want to show y'all the loyalty, but I mean, would you turn down a $12 million a year contract to coach Penn State with all the resources they have, the money they invest, and you one of the top hottest coaches on demand as we speak? Would you turn that down? I know it wouldn't. I sure know it wouldn't. Indiana, I'm telling you, all the Hoosiers fans listening to me or watching me, you better get on your administration and lock that man up for years. Not days, not weeks, years. Because do not think Penn State ain't above stealing coaches. Hell, they stole a defensive coordinator from Ohio State because they paid him the most money an assistant coach has ever made in college football history. So don't think they ain't above stealing your head coach. They want to win just as bad as you might want to win. Maybe even worse. They might even want to win worse than y'all do. So you better lock that coach up, Kirk Cinetti. You better lock him up. Because I bet you, they ain't done it already. They gonna do it. They gonna come calling. They gonna come calling. No matter how this season ends. They gonna come calling. So you better lock him up. Another coaching candidate for the job at Penn State, Matt Rule. Yeah. Matt Rule. Turn Nebraska around. Well, he's taking Nebraska to another level. Well, they were just middle road in the Big Ten. He's gotten them at least a step, maybe a step and a half above that now. No, they're not on the same level as Ohio State and Indiana and Michigan, but they're close. But they're getting there. Now, I'm pretty sure if Penn State had the choice between Kirk Cinetti and Matt Rule, they'd take Kirk Cinetti every day of the week and twice on Sundays. But if he wasn't available, Matt Rule's not a bad like a consolation gift. He has turned teams around. Made Baylor into a Big 12 champion. Baylor. Didn't work out too well in the pros. He come back and he still succeeds in college football. This is a coach that learned, and he's now using that adage of stay in your lane. He's a great college football coach. And I think he would do wonders at Penn State myself. Because he seems to got that fire and that personality that I think those players need as the leader of the team. I think that's the only thing that was missing. James Franklin, to me, he was like laid back, quiet. It doesn't look like he getting into a player's face. It didn't look like he wouldn't condone mistakes, but he wouldn't do much about them. Player make a mistake on the field, he wouldn't do much about it. That's what it seemed like to me. I don't know. Matt Rule, every time I look at him, I think of Grizzly Adams almost. I think he gonna, don't mess up too much. Don't mess up too much. He ain't gonna put up with that noise. So I think that's what Penn State needs. They need a fiery head coach. One that's already got that fire lit up under his booty. And he ready to get active. And he ain't gonna take no nonsense. Kind of coach they need. Maybe James Franklin wasn't that coach. I never thought he was. But they need somebody that breathes fire and will spit it back at you if you mess up. And Matt Rule fits that bill to me. Another head coach that I think, and this is gonna crack you up. It's gonna crack you up. But this is me. This is me talking. Coach, right now, that I think would be a good hire for Penn State. It's going to crack you up. The current interim head coach at Arkansas, Bobby Petrino. Now I know y'all like, huh? What? What you talking about, Big O? Bobby Petrino, you lost your mind. Man, you need to quit smoking that weed, man. I know, that's what you're thinking. But why not? Sometimes you might have to go outside the box to make things happen the way you want them to. Because inside the box for Penn State hasn't worked for the last 10, 12 years. It hasn't. They've been that little engine that couldn't. That's what Penn State has been for the last so many years. Yeah, they made the college football playoff last year. So, they're a team that, when the expectations rise, they get scared. They play scared. You saw that. You saw that against Oregon. When the expectations rise, they play scared. That's how it is. They play like they play not to lose instead of playing to win. You need a coach that wants to play to win at all times. Bobby Petrino, hell, he went for 2 when he really didn't need to against Tennessee. Because he's playing to win. And that's the kind of coach they could also use. Penn State. A coach that plays to win. Maybe even do a little bit of riverboat gambling in the process. Teams like that. Players like that. Players like a coach that goes for the gusto. That rubs down on all the other players. So that's my 3. That's my 3, I think, candidates that would fit the Penn State job perfectly. Kirk Cinetti, Matt Rule, and yes, Bobby Petrino. I know y'all thinking, huh? What you talking about on the Bobby Petrino thing? That's because y'all SEC, whatever. I think you do great at Penn State. I really do. What do you think? Let me know. Leave a comment, like and subscribe. Let me know what you think. That's just my thought process. I like to think out of the box sometime, and that's my out of the box thought. Bobby Petrino. What would it hurt? He would get that team fired up. And he playing in the Big Ten. And I know he would be excited about that. Playing against Ohio State and Oregon, Michigan, USC, all those guys on a yearly basis. He probably think he would be able to succeed because he ain't got to worry about all those landmines that he has to traverse in the SEC. Maybe he'll probably think the Big Ten's a cakewalk. Well, then he'd be in trouble if he does. But he'll probably think that, and that probably will rub down on all the players. Just saying. But that's my thought. Those three would be a good fit to replace James Franklin at Penn State. You're watching in the Big O with the Big Mouth in the Total Sports Ozone. Let's get back to the NFL. Now, top 5 NFL. Time for NFL, my top 5 NFL teams. Now this is gonna mess some of y'all up. I know it. This is gonna mess some of y'all up. Y'all gonna be like, you got to be kidding me. You put them in? That's my top 5. This ain't your top 5. This is my top 5. The teams I think the top 5 teams in the NFL after week 6. And here we go. Number 5, Kansas City Chiefs. That's right. I know they're 3-3, but I keep telling y'all, don't sleep on them Chiefs. Y'all slept on them when they started 0-2 and 1-3. Y'all slept on them. I said, you never sleep on Patrick Mahomes until somebody proves to me that they can beat that team in the playoffs. I ain't sleeping on them. I still think it's the Chiefs and everybody. And now, the way that the Bills have struggled, The Ravens are pretty much done. The Bengals are done. The Chargers just lost the game, which means the Chiefs are only a game behind them. And oh yes, they're gonna be playing again. Look, when you got Andy Reid, you got Patrick Mahomes. All you got he got his receivers injured or suspended, and he's slowly getting them back. You got Xavier Worthy back. Rashid Rice will be back this weekend. He served his suspension. He'll be back. And all Patrick Mahomes had to do was keep the team afloat till he got his full complement of weapons back. Well, guess what? They're back. Now what you gonna do? Patrick Mahomes is in the running for is one of the high picks according to Vegas. Got the highest, one of the first or second highest odds to win another MVP. That's why I have the Chiefs in my top 5. Don't sleep on the best until you can beat the best. You don't sleep on the Chiefs. I won't until somebody proves to me that they can beat them. Could it be my number 14? As much as this makes me sick to admit, my number 14. This makes me so sick to admit this. I really don't even want to admit it. Let me get my screen up. I don't even want to admit this. I really don't. To be honest, I really don't want to admit. I don't want to admit that this team is one of the top teams. I really don't. But I got to. I got to admit it. Number 14, unfortunately, is the Pittsburgh Steelers. You can't argue with 4-1. You really can't. You can't argue with 4-1, even though they haven't really beaten anybody of significance. They beat the Browns. They beat the Jets. They beat the Browns. They beat the Jets. Who else have they beaten of significance? Nobody. The only loss came to a good Seattle team. So they haven't beaten anybody significant, but you can't argue with 4-1, especially in the AFC. And Aaron Rodgers looks like he's rounding into shape. So, unfortunately, I got the Steelers this week as my number 14. Yeah, it makes me sick to admit that. But, what can you do? Yeah, what can you do? They are who they are. My number 3 team, that will be the Detroit Lions. I know they took an L to the Chiefs, but that offense is still good. It's still potent. They just ran into a buzzsaw with the Chiefs. And I don't care how good you are or how bad you are. You can't turn the ball over. You can't turn the ball over the way the Lions did on the road. You can't do that and expect to win. But I still got the Lions in number 3, and they slipped from my number 2. But they still one of the best because I don't see anybody else in the NFC that's coming that really can challenge them. Maybe the Rams, maybe the Seahawks. Rams, Seahawks, maybe. Nah, but anybody else would be tough. It'd be a tough game. They got just way too many weapons on offense. Gibbs, Williams, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Goff, Laporta. I mean, they got weapons galore. But they gotta be able. But you gotta hang on to the ball. Can't score without the ball. I think they're gonna learn that this week. But I still got them number 3. Hang on to the ball, they'll be just fine. My number 2 team in my top 5, the Indianapolis Colts. You can't argue with their success. And they look like they can kick some ass. They're looking like, at first couple of weeks, I was like, yeah, they're just lucky. 5-1 ain't lucky. 5-1 is great. 5-1 is good. And I think Daniel Jones not only should be in MVP conversation, he damn should be comeback player of the year. Everybody left that man for dead. Now look at it. Him and Taylor, running back. Kicking ass, taking names, numbers, and dates. Leaving teams in the dust. That's what they're doing. They've been leaving teams in the dust, they're making their wins look easy. Especially at home. Like, you ain't coming up in here with that noise. And they playing like it. I think the only problem, because they're strong on both sides of the ball. But they have a tendency to put the ball on the ground a little bit. They clean that up, they're going to be a tough out in the AFC. They're going to be a tough out if they learn to hang on to the ball. They tend to put the ball on the ground a little bit too much for my liking. It seems like it ain't been messing with them. They're 5-1. And that leads to my number one team this week in NFL for week 6. And that would be, and I never thought I would say this, considering the top 5 from week 1, the beginning of the season. Because as you can see, my top 5 don't have the Buffalo Bills. It don't have the Ravens. It don't have the Rams. It don't have the Eagles. My top 5 teams are what you see here. And my number 1 team is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mean, Baker Mayfield should be the leading candidate for league MVP at this stage after week 6. What he has been doing without his primary wide receivers is a miracle. It's like, who is this guy? And where did he come from? He wasn't like that. He showed glimpses of this in Cleveland. He didn't show none of this in Carolina and LA. Showed a little bit of it in LA. Didn't show none of this in Carolina. He showed glimpses of this in Cleveland. In Tampa Bay, he's showing it all. Running, passing, taking big hits, leading his team down the field on points when they need them. And he's doing it without Evans, without Godwin. Emeka Ibuka got hurt last game. And it don't matter. God get open, he hits him. God hits on the slant, he don't miss. I'm still wondering, where was this Baker Mayfield 6-7 years ago when he was with Cleveland? I don't know. But I am happy for him. He grew up. He has grown up exponentially. He's turned into a leader. The team backs him up. And it's working out. They won 4 of their 5 wins have come right. Last week, the first game where they actually won, where they could do the victory deal. The other 4 games all came down on the wire. And they pulled them out. Last week against the big bad 49ers, won enough to where they can do the victory nail. Don't have to come down in the last minute. Hit the victory nail, do the congratulations, and get on off the field with the win. Tampa Bay Bucks, my number 1 team this week in the NFL as of week 6. What do you think? Think I made a mistake somewhere? You probably think I probably made a mistake with the Chiefs. I don't care. Like I said, to be the best, you got to beat the best. Kansas City right now is still the best team in the AFC. Record might not indicate that, but y'all remember, he getting all his players back. Oh, he getting all his receivers back. Running backs getting help. Travis Kelce catching the ball more now. Y'all in trouble. Y'all in trouble. Like I said, till somebody shows me they can beat them, don't even go that way with me. Kansas City Chiefs are still the top dog in the AFC. So that's my top 5 in the NFL. What do you think? Am I missing somebody? Did somebody be climbing to my top 5 that got no business being in there? Honestly, I can't stand I put the Steelers in there. I can't stand it. But They're 4-1, and they're leading the AFC North by a country mile. By a country mile. They're the only team in that division over 500. So you got to put them in the top. You have to put them up there. And they're doing it, and they're not really a complete team yet. But when you winning, you winning. What can you say? And that's why I put the Chiefs. They're winning. Back-to-back wins. They're winning. Well, they ain't back-to-back because they lost to the Jaguars, but still winning. 1-2 out of their last 3. And they're getting all their complimentary players back. You gotta like where they at. You just gotta. Unless you forgot how good this team is when they're fully healthy. I bet you right now, I'm telling you right now, Pat Mahomes and Andy Reid going to remind you. Pat Mahomes and Andy Reid, they're going to remind you how good they are. But that's my top 5. Kansas City at number 5. Pittsburgh at number 4. The Detroit Lions at number 3. Indianapolis Colts at number 2. And Tampa Bay Buccaneers at number 1. Now, this could change next week. It probably will. It probably will change next week. But that's my top 5. You like it? Drop me a comment. Drop me a comment if you don't like it. Hit the like and subscribe, though. And let me know what you think. Well, it's time for me to get up on out of here. Oh, one more thing. Yeah, I meant to talk about the Ravens. There's been all a little bit of scuttlebutt that John Harbaugh might be on. John Harbaugh. Was it Jim Harbaugh? One of the Harbaughs. Might be out the door. Might be heading out the door. Is there some trouble that we don't know about in Baltimore? I mean, Harbaugh's been there. Wow. Has he been there, what, 18 years? Something like that? 18 years, 12 playoff appearances. If I'm not mistaken, 12 playoff appearances. And he won a Super Bowl. Why would you let him go? Because you have one bad season. And it ain't really his fault. A lot of injuries. Got a lot of injuries, especially on defense. You got all the injuries on defense, plus your best signal call, your main signal call, no QB1, Lamar Jackson, hurt. What you expect you to? Now, I think it's the coaching staff and management's fault that they have never gotten Lamar Jackson an adequate, decent backup. But I still don't think they should be letting the man go. He had one lousy season out of so many. And I don't think, as much as I can't stand the Baltimore Ravens, I can't stand them. Them Steelers, I can't stand them. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why about why I can't stand the Baltimore Ravens on another show. It's just too long to take for me to talk about that. And it's too painful. But I also respect greatness. I also respect consistency. You have to do that in this league. And the Ravens have been one of the more consistent winning teams over the past 5 to 10 years. They have. So why would you fire the man? Yeah, you 1-5. I say let his players get healthy, especially his main quarterback. And if it still sucks, then you might want to consider it. But let his players get healthy. Lamar Jackson, let him come back. Let him give some of his defensive players back. Then if they stink like ground manure like they've been doing, okay, you might want to talk about it. Because he has been there almost 20 years. Then you might want to have that discussion. But right now. You don't throw him to the wolves because players got injured. You don't throw Jim Harbaugh to the wolves because some of his players got injured. That's not a good look. I don't think it's a good look. No matter who the franchise is. Let's wait till he gets his full complement of players. Then, if they still losing the way they've been losing, then it is what it is. But I say, wait, wait, wait till he gets healthy. Wait till Lamar Jackson gets healthy. Wait till his defense gets healthy. Then we'll go from there. But you don't fire a head coach that has that much success. You just don't do that. The reason why I hate the Pittsburgh Steelers, but the reason why I respect them so much because you know how many head coaches they've had in their franchise history. The franchise history. Or since 1969. You know how many head coaches they've had? 3. Chuck Noll, the Chin, the Cowher, and Mike Tomlin. All those years. We're talking over 55 years. 3 head coaches. 3. And Chuck Noll has had some bad seasons. Yes, he had. Before the Bradshaw and after. He's had some terrible seasons. Still stuck with him. That's why I respect the Steelers and the Rooney family so much because of their consistency. Their consistency in the National Football League. They don't do knee jerk if their team is having an off year. They don't do knee jerk reactions. They let the coaching staff, the management, they give them the leeway to fix that problem, whatever problems they have. And that's what you would think a lot of teams would take notes from that. They don't. But I think the Ravens should take notes from that before they think about giving Harbaugh a la boot. Think about that. 3 head coaches in 55 years or more. 3. Think about that. And with that, I got to get out of here. I'm hoping I'll be able to do a show tomorrow. I'm not sure I will. But if I don't, I will be back here on Friday to do my Pick'em Friday. But if I can get one in here tomorrow, I will. But if I don't, I will be here Friday to do my Pick'em Friday. I did a little better last week on my picks. So I'm trying to keep the momentum flowing and going and strolling. So I'll see you back here. If not tomorrow, I'll definitely be back here Friday in the ozone. See ya.